I'm Danny and I work as a project leader at the Merlin Institute. I'm also working as a data steward and as a Open Science ambassador for FHML. Join me in this video and I'll tell you all about Open Science at Maastricht University. I decided to join the open science community because I already have quite a long track record in the sharing of data, which is of course one of the main aspects of open science. And it kind of started when I was doing my PhD and also a few postdocs afterwards, where we worked a lot with a technique called transcriptomics, because we know that there's a lot of confusion still about what open science is exactly. A lot of researchers have kind of a basic idea of it, but if you ask them for details, that's often where there's still a lack of knowledge. So we are really there to to answer any questions, and of course also to organize events where we spread the word on open science, for example symposia, workshops, and the like of that. And regarding the aims of the OSC, I think a few years from now we should really be one of the front runners of the open science movement. So we need to get to work. People who want to join the open science community can just contact us. You can go to our website, find one of the open science team members there, and just contact them, and we will welcome you with open arms. And we're really interested also in getting people from all kinds of different faculties, because open science has benefits for everyone. Alternative metrics is something that we discuss quite a lot in the open science community, not just in Maastricht, but actually in all of the different communities across the universities in the Netherlands. So it's quite a hot topic. The problem with the traditional metrics that we're using today, like the age index and the impact factor, is that they put an enormous pressure on researchers to keep on publishing and keep putting out new papers. And it also doesn't really help with the application of open science. I often notice that people think ORCID is just like ResearchGate or an alternative to LinkedIn, and it's actually something entirely different. You can see ORCID as kind of a barcode for a researcher that really identifies you uniquely as that particular researcher who has done this particular type of research. You can link all of your research papers to your ORCID, any data you've published, any other activities that you've had in the past, your work history, everything can be linked to it. And it actually simplifies a lot of things, because when you are in the process of publishing a paper or sharing a data set, you can use your ORCID to very quickly identify yourself as this particular researcher, and it saves you a lot of time. By linking ORCID with Pure, you actually make your life even easier, because Pure of course has all of your research publications manually curated by so it's very reliable. And by establishing the sync between these two, you don't even have to do anything actively anymore to update your ORCID. It's all being done for you. So this is perfect for researchers who don't have a lot of time or who are maybe just a little bit forgetful. We found out the hard way that it's really important to have a data management strategy, because we often ran into the following scenario. A researcher is done with his PhD or with his postdoc, and he has his data collected on his laptop or in an external hard drive and hands them over. And at some point we would have to go into this data, find something, maybe do additional analysis with them, and we would have a lot of trouble figuring out what was what. We couldn't find out which coding system was used, how the data were organized, and that caused a lot of frustration. And in a lot of these scenarios, we actually never were able to use those data again, and that's a really big shame. You lose a lot of time, effort, and money by not having a proper data management system. That this would have to be based on FAIR principles, so findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. But FAIR data are really the starting point to make open science quality science. The advantages of sharing data is that it's really kind of a win-win situation. If I share my data with other researchers in the field, they can use those data again to complement their own research, maybe even detect mistakes that I made and that they subsequently don't have to make. And of course this is not a one-way street, right? I mean, it also goes the other way, and I can also use other researchers' data. So not only does that benefit me, but it also really accelerates research as a whole and has benefits for the community as a whole. So if you think of it, it's actually a win-win-win situation. I'm a really big fan of using Dataverse to share our data. We've used it now several times over the last couple of years, and it's a very easy way to share data alongside a paper that you're publishing. They also have a very excellent support team, so if you ever have any questions or any issues with uploading your data, they are always there to help. There are a lot of reasons to go for open access publishing. First of all, we have nothing to gain by keeping the research that we worked on for so hard and for so long behind a paywall. So a Creative Commons open access way is really the way to go. Another reason is that researchers often tend to forget that they lose their copyright when they don't publish open access. And this can pose problems when you're, for example, working on a lecture for students and you want to use figures that you published before in a paper. I mean, research is done for the people, so it should really be accessible by the people. Green Open Access and Taverne offer a really nice fail-safe in open science. If it's really not possible for you to publish open access for whatever reason, there's always the alternative of going for the Green Open Access route or for Taverne. It's kind of like an emergency backup in a sense, still allowing you to make your data available, but under an embargo period which can last for maybe half a year. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing.